7:14. Don't panic. 7:14.
Now, according to a survey by the charity Barnardo's, half of us think that kids in Britain behave like animals and are angry, violent and abusive. Our reporter Mark Hutchins has been talking to teenagers at Glendaru High School in Cardiff about how they think people see them.
It's all about the way people view us. Like, if you went around town wearing like a hoodie, we'd be called like yobs and troublemakers. But not everybody's like that.
Do you know people who are?
Yeah, I know a couple of people, but it's just the way they've been brought up and they follow their brothers and sisters and all that.
What sort of things are they doing?
Like on the street corners, smoking, ruined their education. My mum, for instance, she moved out at the age of 13, whereas I'm still living at home, so I'd probably say I was better behaved than my mum.
What do you think about older people?
They're nice.
What, all of them?
Not all of them, but the majority of them are.
Mohammed, what do you think of it?
You can't judge a book by its cover. A lot of kids have been brought up well and behave and listen to their parents, and others do bad things, hang around in gangs.
Of the children you know your age, what proportion of them do you think are behaving badly?
Maybe 30% out of 100.
30%? That's a high figure. Nathan John, founder of Youth Enlightenment, which is a charity that works with young people who are at risk of getting on the wrong side of the law, essentially. Nathan, hiya.
Good morning.
Do you think it's as many as a third of young people are aggressive and violent?
I think if you go into certain communities, if you go into certain states, it might even be higher than that. But at the same time, that's not the right representation for all young people. But I can completely see why people have that perception.
The other day, I asked a kid to pick up his Coke can in the park. He just chucked it, and the language from him. I mean, maybe that's not feral. That's bad language or whatever. But it was just foul. It was about 11.
Yeah. As I said, there's a number of reasons why I think people have this perception. It's not just because of the riots and the images that came across as TV screens, but also some people have had bad experiences. And there are some children out there who are just badly behaved. But one thing I remember reading was, I think half of the adults surveyed felt that beyond age 10, there's no helping these kids. And that's something that it's completely wrong. At age 10, I wasn't the person that you see today. At age 10, you would have said that young guy, young black boy who's being antisocial is more likely to end up in prison than anything else.
What were you doing?
Antisocial behaviour. It could be going on shoots with my friends. It could be just being a bit loud, getting into fights. Nothing too serious, but from the outset, it would have looked serious. And again, being in the area that I grew up in, you would have said this guy's heading down the wrong path. And I was. But fortunately, I was able to turn it around. And I know many people have done the same.
And adults can be really intimidated by that kind of behaviour, even if it is, as you say, fairly low-level aggressive behaviour. But hasn't it always been the case through the generations that the grown-ups, if you like, have looked at the younger generation and been frightened and scared, intimidated by what they're up to?
You're completely right. It's just something that's been going on for years, and it will continue. We've all been young once, right?
So is it worse now than it was 30 years ago? That's what I can't work out.
I think what's worse now is the perception is increased even more. But at the same time, we do have issues. I can't deny that. I wouldn't be doing what I do if I didn't see there was a problem. There are issues, but those issues can be addressed. And one of the things we need to do is just connect adults to these young people to make them realise that they're not all bad and some of them have got ambitions and want to go somewhere.
How are you turned around, if you like?
Yeah, I think family played a big part. I was mentored by someone who was very successful, and he encouraged me to do the same thing, and that's what I'm doing now. And I've got friends and colleagues where I work who are doing the same thing, and that's where we're going to change and break this cycle. And that's what I encourage all our listeners to do is, don't cast judgment too quickly. Have a chat, and you'd be surprised what you get out of it.
Nathan John, thanks very much, founder of Youth Enlightenment. This from Rich on the text. Once again, we seem to be reducing this to an either-or discussion. It's undeniable there's a cohort of young people on the margins of society, and that's a tragedy we need to rise to. But most of the young people I know are polite, work hard at school, are funny and great company. Far better than the skinhead bootboy generation I had to endure when I was growing up.
I mean, we've been having this conversation forever, haven't we? Adults about children.
Yeah. And it's going to continue, isn't it?
Yeah. It's good to see you. 7:18, 5 Live Breakfast.
Across the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live. 5 Live Breakfast.
With Nicky Campbell and Rachel Burden.